So, hi Jim, good evening.
Hi Kevin, thanks for setting this up.
It's my great pleasure, and it's a little bit strange for me. So we're going to be talking today, and just to introduce, this is Jim Uglow, ladies and gentlemen, and it's kind of strange for me to make this kind of introduction because I feel like everybody should know who he is. But Jim Uglow is my longtime teacher in Tai Chi since 1998, so 22 years. 22 years. And it's been an amazing 22 years, and he's had a profound impact on my life and my Tai Chi, and he's been some places. And I think while it's strange for me to be introducing you, at the same time I realize from time to time you go around the net and you see various people who are very visible online, and a lot of people, you're kind of an enigma. Can I call you that? You're a little bit of an enigma to the outside world, the outside Tai Chi world, as is Mary Yang, who we're going to be talking about. One of the reasons for setting up this little interview tonight, and it reminds me that people, I think people benefit from hearing a little bit more about your story, but then also your time with Mary, and so that's really the point of this conversation tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah.
So I will start with the basic question. I mean, just can you tell the folks a little bit about your Tai Chi journey? How did you get into Tai Chi?
Well, I started in 1974, and it was not really Tai Chi, but we didn't know anything about it. No, can you imagine 1974, no internet, no books, nothing. So it was just a new thing. In Time Out magazine in London, met this guy, Chinese guy. We thought it was Tai Chi. We had not a clue what we were doing, but it was okay. I felt great. That was it. And then after a few years, started to feel it wasn't what Tai Chi is supposed to be, because by that time there's a couple of books out, mostly Chen Man Ching and everything. So we had some idea what we were doing. It wasn't what we were doing. I'm not going to denigrate the guy, but it wasn't. It was a sort of Tai Chi, but there was something wrong with the feeling. So I went to Chu Hong, who was Young Family third disciple. So that's when it really started in 1978. And then 10 years with him. And then it's difficult to explain, but I wanted to move on. So I wanted to get deeper into the family somehow. And so I tried a few things. Ended up going to Boston, America, your area, to meet Chu Jin Soon, who was wonderful. But then I got the chance in 97 to meet Yeung Ma Lee, and that's January 97 was when it all changed.
So I think a lot of people won't even know what you just said when you say Yeung Ma Lee. So
Yeung Ma Lee.
Just explain that.
Yeung is the phonetic correction, Y-E-U-N-G, because it's a Cantonese dialect. Not mine, obviously, because I'm terrible at Cantonese, but Yang is the written standard, Y-A-N-G, but it's actually Yeung. When I first went to see the boss, I knocked on the door, there was the little porthole opened, and I said, not knowingly, is that Mary Yang? And the answer was Yeung. And it shut and and it opened up. That was my introduction. So okay, so great start, phonetically correct. I loved it. So now I know it's Yeung Ma Lee.
Can you tell a little bit more about the story about how you got to her?
So a student of mine who was a lovely man, retired with lots of money and time. So he went on a sojourn around the world, India, Tibet, Hong Kong, and China with a spiritual journey. He ended up in Hong Kong, and he was doing his form under the same tree in the same park for several weeks. Remember, he's retired. He had no problems with money, no problems with time. He's just chilling out. And Yeung Ma Lee had a student who saw his form and approached him and said, "Where'd you get the form from?" So he said, "Jimmy, London." So then the guy said, "Would you like to go and see Yeung Ma Lee?" And he went, "Obviously, this is bloodline, Yang family bloodline." So he went to her for an hour. She gave him her number to give to me, and that was it.
Now, the Yeung family, again, people who are more novices in Tai Chi won't really appreciate the differences between the families. Can you talk a little bit about where they are in that?
all I know is that our lineage comes from Yeung Sau Chung. Yeung Sau Chung, who's Yeung Ma Lee's father. And he was the first son of Cheng-fu, the famous big guy. And that's our lineage. So I only know this lineage. I know there's the one in China, but I don't know it. I know it's now, I think, moved to Seattle, the headquarters, I believe. I have no contact with these people, only my own family in Hong Kong, which you've been to, so you know how it runs.
And there recently, one of the family members passed in Zhengzhou, yes, in China.
Third son of Yang Ching Po, yeah.
Can you say a little bit more about just like age and things that, in terms of that family?
I don't know. It's not part of my family, so they're very insular, the Chinese. So that side of the family, I know nothing about. Kevin, sorry, don't know.
Okay. So let's see. So you met Mary in, I think, was it 97?
Yep, January 97.
Okay. And then can you talk a little bit more about your first meeting? And by the way, I know that some of the stuff you're careful how you talk about these things, and I respect that. So you'll say, can't go there, but can you talk about a little bit about the first meeting?
Yeah, well, I got a date from her and I turned up, and there's a lot of games going on, which I love because it's a Chinese cultural thing. So to see if I had any education, if I had any brains, it's all a little few tests. It's lovely. And of course, you're not allowed to go to the toilet the first visit. I had some knowledge of Cantonese, and so I used the best I could. And eventually we got talking for about an hour. And then clearly, with my intuition and my own opinion, only my opinion, this lady has it. She's got what I wanted. So then my brain sort of think, okay, this is it. I've found what I want. I'm done for my life. All I've got to do is get in here now somehow. So that was my feeling after an hour. And then the funny stuff started. She said, do you want to show me your form? Now, we'd arranged an hour and it was already 1 hour. So I said, no, I don't want to keep you. You must be busy. I'll leave. And she went, oh, no, I've got time. So show me your form. So I did the form, and I could see her not being engaged very much with my form. So clearly I put her out of her misery and said, should I stop? And she went, yes, if you don't mind. And then the good stuff started then. And she said, do you teach? And I said, yes. And she said, with that form? And I went, yeah, that's what I've got. And that's how we started. I enjoyed it, I have to say, because I didn't go there for praise. I went there for instruction.
Right.
And it was a meeting, wasn't an official class the first time. So, and I panicked because I didn't have enough money on me for a class. And she said, do you want me to help you with your form? I said, I haven't got any money for a class. And she said, we haven't arranged a class. I'll give you an hour, which, as you understand, is not normal in this field.
Yes.
It's not normal. So I thought, this is absolutely fabulous. And then she gave me some instructions, which were incredible, I have to say. And then she said, what's your plans? So I said, well, my plan is to learn from you. So she said, I'm expensive. So I said, I'll save up. She said, I'm busy. So I said, I'll join the waiting list. That's it. Simple. I couldn't be put off. This is just, I couldn't be put off.
Right. How long had you been doing Tai Chi before you met her?
22 years.
22 years. And with Chu King Hung, how many years with Chu King Hung?
10.
10.
Wow. I think it's 22 years. So if we're talking about 74 till 97, what's that? 74, 84, 94, 20, yeah, about 22 and a half, 23 years. Yeah, so I'm right. Up to January 97.
So I remember, so when you came back, and so you'd been teaching for a while at that point as well, right?
Well, and 13 years of that was professional. So a bit embarrassing at the time with her, but I was a professional teacher for 13 years at that period of time.
Right. So when you came back to London, and what was it like for you coming back to the class and your world's turned upside down, sort of?
I did, yeah, that's fine. I came back and sat them all down and said, right, guys, this is good news and bad news. What we've been doing, I've lost interest in now. I need to do this new one, but I don't know enough to teach. So I left it like that and said, right, if the ancestors are with me, I won't lose my school. But if I lose it, it's meant to be. So this is how I felt. but this is the correct thing to do in my heart for my Tai Chi and for me, the family and my students. That is my driving force.
Okay, again, sort of inside door question, so you may or may not want to touch it, but can you talk a little bit about the environment when you were there training with her? What was it like? Her place?
It was a Hong Kong space, a space in Hong Kong, which is, as you know, is very, very tight. Plenty of space to train. Pictures of her father and the family, which I've never seen on the internet. Unusual pictures of the family. And the rest of it was a family house. The other side of it was a family house. So it's a good atmosphere. The windows open, not allowed the aircon on because of the energy. And so there's a fan. So it's just cooling the air around you, but it wasn't on you. So it was a shock because it's very hot. It wasn't too bad the first time, January, but sometimes in the summer it gets very hot and there's no aircon allowed on because the heat on your skin, if the cheese is starting to develop and pushing the heat out from inside and the cold air meets, what happens in a room, you get condensation. So it's not allowed, no aircon.
Was there any sort of magic in the air? Was it, like crackling?
Oh, if you see her eyes when she teaches you, it is, well, you've seen that. You've been there yourself. So you can sort of, it's very intense and it's extremely exciting and you feel totally unworthy. That is my feeling. I'm thinking I need another 42 years to be ready for this, really. You're there, you do your best. It's fabulous.
And in terms of stature, what, like, roughly size is she?
Hong Kong lady. She's a Hong Kong lady with Sifu eyes. Her eyes are she's a Sifu. There's no question.
But she's not a large woman, right? I mean, she's
no. Hong Kong ladies, normal Hong Kong lady.
So
it's
some
just
people
the eyes.
will know.
Not smaller than Western ladies.
Yes.
not big, not tall. Just
yes.
Everything's internal with her, Kevin.
Right.
All internal.
But
you know that.
Yes, but power. I mean,
the power's inside. Yeah, it's hidden. It's wonderful.
Cool. Great stuff. Let's see. I'm just going down my list of questions here. So, okay, we answered that. You're all right down the line here with the questions. And you talked about a bit about how you felt. I always am amazed after training there that it's sort of like you've seen the best massage therapist, the best acupuncturist, all these people who can help you with your body and your health.
Top dollar. Yeah, it's top dollar.
Top dollar.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful. Time disappears, thoughts disappear. It's just retaining and grasping the knowledge that you've been given and remembering how to do it. That's the big problem. Remember to practice physically what she wants you to do, and you hope it's what she wants. That's all you can do.
And how often did you go back to Hong Kong after that first trip?
The first trip, I went another couple of times that year in 97. And then the following years, I was lucky enough to have a situation where I could go up to 5 times a year for training. And then it cut back after 5-6 years to 2 to 3 times a year. I've got family and stuff. And then it's now twice a year.
Great.
So those first 5.5 years were absolutely essential. Well, I grasped the chance. To go whenever I could. So it's every 80, 90 days on average.
And how long would you stay when you went usually?
Well, I have a budget and I have a time constraint because of my life, but it was usually about 8 days training.
And the sessions were an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours?
I think they're usually 2.5, 3 hours.
Right.
As you know yourself, your body gives up after an hour. You're just trying to get through the time because she hits you with so much information. It's crazy.
Any stories that you care to share from any of those trips that were really memorable, aside from the first meeting?
The pushing hands, the first time of pushing hands, because I'd never asked because I'm trained in the Chinese way a little bit. So I'm very, very humble, very calm. I won't ask if I think it's too quick on my program. I won't ask. So one day she said, "Do you like pushing?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, I quite enjoy pushing, the Yang family pushing." So she went, let's do it. So in my mind, I'll be honest now, in my mind, I saw a little lady, I better be careful. So we contacted, and next minute I saw her leaving. She was leaving me. I thought, wow, this is good. But then I hit the wall. It's the most surreal, I've explained this before, the most surreal moment. I thought I'd pushed her and won, and it was me going back, but she appeared to move. My optical vision was completely disorientated. I now know what she does with it, but obviously can't talk about it. But I hit the wall. So then what happens? I was in a bit of a shock. I thought, okay, I can go harder. So I went harder and harder and harder. I went back more, and I was trying to push. I wasn't cheating. And after 7 impacts on the wall, she had this big tenement block building wall, which doesn't give, hitting my back. I felt my nose starts to lose the blood a little bit. I've been hit many times because I'm used to blocking. So I know what it feels like when it's about to. So I said, you better stop now. Better stop. She went, you've done 7. I said, yeah, I know. She said, 7's for ladies. And I said, well, you better fetch me a skirt because there's not going to be an 8 because I'm about to bleed from the nose. And that's my first anecdote of pushing, really. And then when I recovered, I calmed down a little bit. It's very powerful stuff. She said, you are quite strong, you know. It's just a funny, dilemma. I felt weak, right. And then she said afterwards, oh, you're quite strong. But of course, she's being polite.
Amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
What would you say are the hallmarks of her teaching method?
Okay, direct, very direct, and very for you to get you to improve and learn more. It's all about for you. Very, very in your face and very direct. So, you know, if you're not sure what she wants, you ask her again and she explains it, sometimes demonstrates it. And then you know what you're supposed to do for the next 10 minutes to practice something. So that's my feeling. She's very generous with her teaching. I mean, you know yourself, how much knowledge can one person have? It's just shocking. She really has got the whole lot from her dad. I know someone's going to complain that she's a lady and a man wouldn't give it to a lady, but this is a different situation. Her dad lived in Hong Kong since 1949. And as the girls grew up, the 3 sisters grew up, he realised we're going to have to change because he didn't have any sons. This is going to have to change to get this. So he fed the girls with information. Clearly, they've got it all. Clearly, don't matter what people say. Clearly, they've got it all. And she can produce it and she can pass it on. Best we can receive it.
Well, is it possible for you, and I know you don't worry too much about what Tai Chi that other people are doing, but is there any way you can sort of summarize the difference of Yeung Family Tai Chi and the rest of the world doing Tai Chi?
Well, I did the other Tai Chi first, don't forget. I did normal Tai Chi first. And then getting to her, like a mother lode, this is the real one. This is the real McCoy. She has the original idea from the dad, who clearly got his original idea from his family, not just his father, his family. So there's lots of input to him. And I mean, I've seen there's videos of him, not the one on the YouTube that you see. There's other videos of him which are very private, which are shocking. If you see, I mean, they're not going to go public ever, but just to be able to see him every now and again, it's just lovely. So it's clearly a good picture, and the rest of it, I don't really know. I mean, I'm so introverted with this family, with the teaching, that I don't look out. Don't know what's going on, really.
And may we say how old you are?
I am 66.
And a very vibrant 66, I would say.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I'll pay you later.
You're certainly doing much better up here than I am. That's for sure.
I use special glue, Kevin. Oh, and I paint my hair white every day to look my age.
Oh, love it. Well, that's great. Wonderful comments and a little bit of stories, and appreciate your time for this little interview. And I'm sure it will spark a little bit more conversation out there in the outside world. We'll see.